What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you back on the channel. On today's episode, we'll be exploring how and in what ways to work with influencers as a fashion brand. Once you finished up the design of your collections, chances are you're going to be looking for effective ways to market and get the word out regarding your products. One of the most common ways to market in this day and age is to work with influencers. The technical terminology for influencers would be a key opinion leader, or as we're referring to it in this video, a KOL. I'll also have to apologize in advance for the drilling sounds that you're undoubtedly going to hear during this episode. I do apologize in advance, but bear with us. On today's episode, we'll look at the 5 key guidelines that you'll need to know when launching a marketing campaign that involves influencers, that'll take you from everything that has to do with specifying the posting requirements to when you're going to be posting, and ultimately what are the guidelines for how your influencers should be posting. So buckle up, you guys are in for a good one. Hey guys, and welcome to Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you here. On this channel, we discuss all things sports fashion, graphic design, manufacturing, and technology. We'll discuss key topics, answer pressing questions, and provide actionable steps on starting your own product line. If you're interested in any of the above topics, stick around. You're in for a good one. When it comes to working with influencers and creating marketing campaigns around these tools, you need to understand that these people, or KOLs, are essentially people with dedicated and engaged followings that should fit your target demographic. At the end of the day, the goal here is to integrate with a KOL that can engage and motivate their audience to make purchasing decisions that align with what you're looking for, aka you'd like them to buy from you. When it comes to creating these campaigns and to launch them effectively, it's a little bit tricky, especially for brands who have never worked with influencers before. The idea here is that you're dealing with humans, and humans don't have a set guideline or a rulebook, unlike your Facebook ads or your Instagram ads, where you can look up tutorials and you can look at very specific ways of integrating and dealing with those ads. When it comes to the criteria for success for dealing with influencers, it's a little different. So in this episode, we're going to go through 5 key tips that you'll need to know to launch a campaign that is going to be as effective as it can be. When it comes to working with KOLs and setting guidelines that are going to create the criteria for success, you have to understand that these KOLs are going to have their own style in terms of how they present things and how they hold their values. But if you've selected carefully, you've probably made sure that these values align with your brand's direction as closely as possible. So ultimately, you're not going to hold the complete control over the finished result. However, you can do your absolute best to manage the process and to set the guidelines that you need to create a influencer marketing campaign that is as beneficial as possible for all of the entities involved, including you, the influencer, and lastly, the audience. This starts with number 1, which is to specify the format and quantity of posts included in this campaign. For example, in this case, do you want the KOL to be posting a single image, multiple images, or videos? Also, when it comes to these images, specify the ratios. If you're posting on the Instagram main feed, you're looking at a 4:5 portrait format. If you're posting on Facebook as digital ads, you might be looking at a square 4:4 format. If you're posting on Instagram stories, then you're going to be going for a 9:16. And when it comes to the quantity of these posts, are we posting multiple images in the same post? Is it a singular image post or a carousel style post where we swipe right and we get to see different features or different products all in the same post? All of these things should be made abundantly clear to make sure that both you and your KOL are on the same page and you're able to deliver a effective marketing campaign that's going to get you the results that you need. Number 2, you'll want to set the direction and tone of these posts. Take the time to sit down with the KOL and set the creative direction that you're looking to get out of these posts. You'll want to share the keywords that you'll want the copy to include, and you can even go as far as including a list of clear and concise do's and don'ts, as well as a mood board. These are going to be extremely helpful in terms of articulating the specific visuals and tonality that you want to come across in these images. This is going to go a long way towards setting the stage to creating a marketing campaign that is effective and on brand. When it comes to the list of do's and don'ts, you'll need to bear in mind that you shouldn't be overly prescriptive. The goal is not to choke the talent, but the goal is to give them the guidelines that they'll need to comfortably create content that feels on brand and authentic to the messaging you're trying to get across. So your list of do's and don'ts can be as simple as saying things like, for the do's, I would like to have my shoot be in a relaxed and summer atmosphere. It should also be shot outdoors with ample greenery and foliage. And we'll want to style the product, let's just say it's a backpack, using summer clothes as opposed to winter clothes to show this outdoor and adventure vibe. When it comes to the don'ts, you can dictate things like, when it comes to the shots, I don't want to only have face shots or exclusively product shots. I would like to have a mix of both. Also, make sure to not compare or call out competitor brands. That's not the vibe that we're trying to go for. Also, you can have things like, please do not refer to the price point in the copy of these posts. And lastly, when it comes to the scenery, try to avoid overly architectural and dull, neutral, and gray backgrounds. Number 3, you can look at requesting tags or hashtags. Try asking the KOL to include specific tags or hashtags in the posts they create for this campaign. These are going to be a great way to allow you to compile the creative posts that you've created specifically for this campaign, and it will also allow you to link back to your page, which is going to help increase your brand exposure and hopefully your dedicated following as your brand starts to grow and create content that engages and compels people. And number 4, one of the easiest ways to get on the same page with your KOL is to share past examples of work that they've done that best fits your brand and your messaging. This is going to be a foolproof way to get them on board with your vision as soon as possible and with the least amount of friction. If you have any constructive feedback to provide them in terms of how they can modify these posts to get them to be even closer to brand image, that's going to be a plus. If you have to come from scratch and ultimately there's nothing that they've created that is on brand, there may be one of two problems. Number 1, they may be the wrong person to post, because chances are, if this is a KOL you believe in, they should have a style and an imagery that already aligns with what you're looking for. If for some reason that isn't the case, you can look at creating a Pinterest mood board where you have access to hundreds of thousands of really very well curated images that you can compile together and show them. So at the end of the day, you have a choice to either go with past work that they've done or to curate a mood board all on your own. And number 5, set clear posting dates. This is going to be especially useful if you're running a campaign or you have a specific collection launch date, or if you have other KOLs posts that you're working with that you're looking to align with. The right timing of these posts can maximize the efficacy of your campaign and ultimately is going to be a great way to project your brand messaging by reinforcing this message through multiple channels, all in synergy. A great example is the Fire Festival. Obviously, we know how that ended and it was completely a disaster, but their marketing was so effective in terms of how they got the word out all at the same time in synergy across a large celebrity of networks, which is what led to them being thrust into the spotlight and ultimately this huge scandal. But if we focus on how effectively they used synergy and timing to push out their marketing, it's definitely a story of success. But in general, look at synergizing and aligning your posts to make sure that they give you the maximum return on your investment. Well, that is pretty much it, guys. That's a wrap. That's been 5 key guidelines to working with influencers. And if you're a beginner, hopefully you've learned a thing or two in terms of how to set up a strong and effective campaign with influencers and how to approach them in a professional way that's going to set your brand apart from the many other brands that are also approaching some of these KOLs. If you guys enjoyed this fashion marketing video, please let us know in the comments below. And if you guys want to see other videos like this, consider letting us know what topics you'd like to see us cover next. Until next episode, guys, stay awesome.